Hi friends, my name is Nandita. I am from Andhra Pradesh.
Children, now let us discuss about taxonomical aids. Taxonomic studies of a variety species of plants, animals, and other organisms are useful in agriculture, forestry, industry, and in general in knowing our bioresources and their diversity. These studies would require correct classification and identification of organisms. Identification of organisms require intensive laboratory and field studies. The collection of actual specimens of plant and animal species is essential and is the prime source of taxonomic studies. These are also fundamental to studies and essential for training in systematics. It is used for classification of an organisms, and in the information gathered is also stored along with the specimens. In some cases, the specimen is preserved for future studies. Biologists have established certain procedures and techniques to store and preserve the information as well as the specimens. Some of these are explained to help you understand and the usage of these aids. Children, now let us study about herbarium. Herbarium is a collection of dried plant specimens mounted on sheets of papers. The mounted plants are labeled with their proper scientific names, the names of collector, and usually information about what they were collected and how they grew and general observation. Herbarium is a storehouse of collected plant specimens that are dried, pressed, and preserved on sheets. Further, these sheets are arranged according to a universally accepted system of classification. These specimens, along with their description on herbarium sheet, become a storehouse or a repository for future use. The herbarium sheets also carry a label providing information about the data and place of collection, English and local botanical names, family, collector names, etc. Herbaria also referred as quick referral system in taxonomical studies. Children, now let us discuss what is the use of herbarium. Herbaria can be used to discover or confirm the identity of a plant or determine that it is new to science taxonomy, document the concepts of the specialists who have studied the specimens in the past taxonomy, provide a locality data for planning field trips, taxonomy, systematics, teaching, etc. Children, now let us discuss the uses of herbaria. The uses of herbaria are listed as like this. These are used for identification of plants, and complication of floras, monographs, and manuals are mainly based on the specimens in herbaria. Herbaria are useful in locating wild varieties and relatives of economically important plants. They help in knowing the morphological variations found in species. Herbaria are also useful for research in plant taxonomy, morphology, ecological description, etc. Children, now let us see how to make an herbarium at home. To make an herbarium, it actually involves in 5 steps. The first step is to collect, where to collect and what to collect. Then prepare protecting the specimens in second step. Third step, pressing the specimens, and fourth step, mounting the specimens. Fifth step, freezing the specimens, and sixth step, identification of the specimens. Children, now let us discuss how did this herbaria come to be. Luca Ginni, professor of medicine and botany at the University of Pisa during the 16th century, is created with the invention of the herbarium. The Italian physician and botanist Luca Ginni from 1419 to 1556 was spread over Europe by his students. At that time, such a collection of dried mounted plant specimens were known as hortus secus means dry garden, or Hortus helimalis means winter garden. The word herbarium was originally used to refer to a book about medicinal plants. French physician and botanist Joseph Piton de Tournefort from 1656 to 1708 is credited with first applying the term herbarium to the collection of dried, pressed plants. In the earliest herbaria, seeds of pressed mounted plants were bound into the books. The famous Swedish naturalist and taxonomist Carlius Linnaeus from 1707 to 1778 was the first to keep his specimens unbounded, constructing and specialized cabinet with narrow on vertical rows of shelves on which stacks of herbarium sheets could be stored. Modern herbaria used cabinet molded after those of Linnaeus. Care is taken to protect herbarium spaces from agents that can be cause them to deteriorate, such as insects, light, humidity, and fluctuations in temperature. Traditionally, several plant species were glued in a decorative arrangements on a single sheet of plants. These seeds were then bound into volumes stored in a library and cited like books. Specimens were those placed into a fixed order from which they could not be removed without destroying the specimens. It was the famous Swedish naturalist Carlius Linnaeus who advised readers of his Philosophia Botanica in 1751 to mount just one specimen per sheet and refrain from binding the sheets together. For storage of the mounted specimens, Linnaeus suggested a specially built cabinet where individual sheets could be inserted at any place, removed at any time, and reinserted again anywhere in the collection. In contrast to be bound volumes of older herbaria, the order that Linnaeus' herbarium cabinet brought to his collection was not fixed into perpetuity. This internal mobility of the herbarium could accommodate the arrival of new material and enable the user to rearrange the material to reflect new knowledge. The largest herbarium in the world is the National Natural History Museum in Paris, France, with over 9.1 million species. The largest herbarium in the United States in the New York Botanical Gardens Herbarium, established in 1981 with over 7 million species. Many herbaria in the USA were established throughout the 1800s. The USA has 405 registered herbaria with a total of 59 million species, or 22% of world herbarium collections. Herbarium species include plants, conifers, ferns, mosses, liverwort and algae, as well as fungi and leeches. Most plant specimens are derived by pressing, whereas bulker plants and most fungi are dried without pressing and are stored in boxes. Pressed specimens can be mounted on archival sheets or stored in packets, as in the case of most of the material in the Athura fungarium, for example. Children, according to the precise set of rules laid down by the International Code of Nomenclature for algae, fungi and plants, the scientific names of every taxon is almost always based on one particular specimen. This is usually a physical specimen that must be accessorized in a museum or herbarium research collection. There are of great significance when identifying material. A researcher attempts to apply a taxon name not to a specimen group of specimens, and this will be based on their understanding of a relevant taxa, using the type of description, but preferably based on an examination of all the type of material of all the relevant taxa. If the taxon appears not to have been named, then the scientist or another expert designates a type of specimen and publishes a new name and an official description. This process is crucial to the science of biological taxonomy and the biology as a whole, and this type of collections are considered the linchpin of biological researchers. Now let us discuss the types of types. There are actually several types of types. Here are the definitions of some types. The first one is holotype. When a single specimen is clearly designated in the original description, this specimen is known as the holotype of the species. Next one is isotype, and any duplicate specimen of the holotype. The third one is lectotype, designated as the type when no holotype was identified by the original author, or when the holotype is lost or destroyed. It is chosen from among the specimens available to the original publishing author. The next one is centype. Any two or more specimens listed in the original description of a taxa when a holotype was not designated. Another one is isocentype, a duplicate of syntype. The next one is paratype, a specimen not formally designated as a type but cited along with the type of collection in the original description of a taxon. The next one is neotype, a specimen chosen by a later researcher to serve in a place of a holotype when all the specimens available to the original publishing author or author of a specific name have been lost or destroyed. Topotype, a specimen of a plant collected from the same locality, has a holotype and usually on different date. A topotype has no formal standing. The last one is cotype, a term formerly used for syntype and sometimes for isotype and paratype. This is an old term that was used loosely and it is not used by today's taxonomist. Children, now let us discuss what can we do with a herbarium collection. We can use this herbarium collection for basic functions and research work, and it also facilitates the discovery or confirmation of a new species and provides ecological and range data for existing species. Watcher scientific research, and is also repository for a type of specimens, and it provide information on rare or extinct species, and it gives material for morphological studies and documentation of flowering and fruiting names. It also gives spaces, locality and data. It provides data for agricultural, human health, biosecurity, forensics, control of invasive species, conservation of biology, natural resource and land management, and it also gives DNA analysis and sequence, and it gives document specialist concepts, and it provides information on predators, pathogens and symbionts that may have been collected with the specimen, and it gives document CO2 changes and minor cycles in climate, and it gives information on expeditions and explorers, and education and training, material for teaching. It also gives helpful for research projects, and it run published works and awareness programs, internships and jobs, specimens for museum and educational exhibits. Children, now let us discuss about botanical gardens. Botanical garden, also called as Botanica garden, originally a collection of living plants designated chiefly to illustrate relationship within the plant groups. A display garden that concentrates on woody plants like herbs and trees is often referred to as an arboretum. These specialized gardens have collections of living plants for reference. Plant specimens in these gardens are grown for identification purpose, and each plant is labeled indicating its botanical and scientific name and its family. The famous botanical gardens are at New England, Kew England, and Indian Botanical Garden at Howrah, and National Botanical Research Institute at Lucknow. The botanical gardens are institutions holding document collections of living plants for the purpose of scientific research, conservation, display and education. Now let us study The history of botanical gardens. Gardens are the cultivation of plants have been around for thousands of years, with the first examples dating to around 3000 years ago in the ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. However, the first true botanic gardens with an understanding scientific foundations were the Physic Gardens of Italy created in 16th and 17th centuries. The first of these Physic Gardens was the garden of the University of Pisa, which was created by Luca Gini in 1543. Following this, other Italian universities followed suit and gardens were created in Padova 1545, Firenze 1545 and Bologna 1547. These gardens were purely for the academic study of medicinal plants. By the 16th century, these medicinal gardens had spread to universities and apothecaries throughout the Central Europe, such as Cologne and Prague. Botanic gardens then experienced a change in using during the 16th and 17th century. This was the age of exploration and the beginnings of the international trade. Gardens such as Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew and the Real Jardin Botanical were the set up to dry and cultivate new species that were being brought back from expeditions to the tropics. Not only did these gardens promote and encourage botanical exploration in these tropics, they also helped found new gardens in the tropical regions to help cultivate these newly discovered plant species. During the 19th and 20th century, municipal and civic gardens were created throughout the Europe and the British Commonwealth. Nearly all over these gardens were pleasure gardens, with very few of them having any scientific programs. Mysore Botanical Garden is an exception to this and was among the first botanic gardens to be established in USA in 1859. In the last 50 years, botanic gardens have seen a revival as scientific institutions due to the emergence of conservation movement. They are recognized as being extremely important to conservation due to their existing collections and the scientific knowledge they possess in the propagation of plant species. There are now currently 1775 botanical gardens and arboreta in 148 countries around the world, with many more under constructions or being planned. You can use your garden search data to search the botanical gardens by keywords or country. Now let us discuss the role of botanic gardens. Botanic gardens have had a changing role throughout history, and they continue to adapt and serve the needs of society as new challenges arise. Being major tourist destinations attracting an estimated 500 million visitors each year, there are important contributors to local and national economics. They also provide many benefits to the society, such as having a positive impact on mental and physical health, particularly in urban settings where the majority of botanic gardens are situated. As illustrated above, botanic gardens have in more recently years become key players in both the conservation of plants and in the education of the people who come to see them. Several botanic garden activities are important for the conservation of plants around the world, including horticulture and cultivation skills allow botanic gardens to grow plants and might be also in the wild. Living collections and seed banks safeguard species and enable the restoration and rehabilitation of degraded habitats. Research and development into plant taxonomy and genetics, cytochemistry, useful plant properties and information, selection of plants that can be withstand degraded and changing environments. Especially important with the threat posed by climate changes. Education is the strength of botanic gardens that allow them to communicate the importance of conserving plants, reaching out to diverse audience, and also to communicate how this may be achieved. linking plants with the well-being of people and also helping conserve indigenous and local knowledge to encourage the sustainable use of plant resource for the benefit of all as a part of sustainable development. Children, the world's largest botanical garden is Royal Botanical Garden in Kew, England, known as the largest botanical garden in the world also. This consists of 300-acre garden near London, is the home to the world's biggest collection of living plants. Now let us discuss the biological museums. Museum species form the basis of research on evolution, speciation and distribution, and also provide an important baseline for studies of conservation and emerging diseases. They are generally set up in educational institutes such as schools and colleges. Museums have collections of preserved plants and animal specimens for the study and reference. Specimens are preserved in the containers or jars in preservative solutions. Plants and animal specimens may also be preserved and dry specimens. Insects are also preserved in insect box after collecting, killing and pinning. Large animals like birds, mammals are usually stuffed and preserved. Museums often have collections of skeletons of animals too. Children, now let us discuss the meaning of botanical museum. Botanical museum are primarily for popularization of botanical science. With the advancement of modernization of all over system of education and development of visual orientation of studies, it become essential to the place each and every subject in the museum. In the museum, the behavioral aspect of the visitors has been studied and suitable visual designs have been developed to the students to understand the subject. For illustrate, to introduce himself with it, scientists to feed their problems, and finally the masses to it in a more scientific manner. Museums are not erected for the preservation of material and protected them from subsequent destruction only, but are primarily meant for promoting scientific research, awaken interest among general public and those disseminated scientific achievements. This is why museums are defined internationally as centers of research, education and exhibition. In the majority of the museums, objects of art and history along with the curious have taken the major share, if not whole, of the museum space. It can be safely to be said that the subject for a museum may be selective or composite as their case may be, but the composition of various topics including their selection should be in a scientific manner. Now let us discuss the functions of botanical museums. Botanical museums have a variety of functions to perform, ranging from the depiction of history of plant introduction, its effects, modeling and designing of different gardens, preservation and methods of utilization of plants and plant parts, not merely for identification but also for their use in economic, medicinal and utilization purpose, and finally to create an awareness of plants as essential ingredients of human existence and life on the earth. Functions of the botanical museums can broadly be classified as administrative, scientific, technical and research, visual education and popularization of scientific information. Some of the most important museums of other countries and Indians are American Museums of Natural History, New York, USA, Museum of Natural History, Brazil, Switzerland, Natural History Museum, London, Zoological Museum in Netherlands, Bird Collection Museum of Natural History, Australia, National Museum of Natural History, Paris, National Museum of Natural History, Delhi, Prince of Wales Museum in Mumbai, Museum of Arthropoda in Pune. Now let us discuss about zoological parks. These are the places where wild animals are kept in protect environment under human care and which enable us to learn about their food habits and behavior. All animals in a zoo are provided as far as possible the conditions similar to their natural habitats. Children love visiting these parks, commonly called zoos. In zoos, animals are kept in cage, but in zoological parks, animals are free in its natural habitats. In case of zoo, animals are confined, but visitors are free to see these animals. But in zoological parks, visitors are confined in cage like vehicle, but animals are free. Zoological parks play an important role in wildlife conservation. Earlier, they acted as refuge for the captured wild animals. However, they are now used to maintenance of wild animals, reproduction of endangered species. Zoological park is a place where various living animals are kept within enclosures displayed to public and may be useful for the study. Let us see the role of zoological parks. Zoological parks play a very important role in wildlife conservation. Earlier, they act as refuge for the captured wild animals. However, they are now used for maintenance of wild animals, reproduction of endangered species. In zoological parks, the care of animals is being taken in terms of proper food, proper habitat, treatment and comfort. Its main purpose is to conserve of wildlife. Here is zoology, ecology and conservation biology can be also studied and research can be carried out. Let us see the rules of zoological park. The zoological park increases understanding of wildlife. These are the centers of recreation and education. Zoos are the centers for conservation of threatened and rare animal species. These provide sites for suit breeding of endangered animals, conservation through captive breeding of endangered animals. Some of the famous zoos in India are National Zoological Park, Delhi, Nandhan Zoo in Odisha, Nehru Zoological Park in Hyderabad, Rajiv Gandhi Park in Patna, Rajiv Gandhi Zoological Park in Pune, Alipuri Zoological Park in Kolkata, Madras Crocodile Bank Trust in Chennai, Mysore Zoological Park in Karnataka, etc. Now let us discuss about key. Key is then another taxonomical aid used for identification of plants and animals based on the similarities and dissimilarities. The keys are based on the constructing characters generally in a pair called couplet. It represents the choice made between two opposite options. This results in acceptance of only one and rejection of the other. Each statement in a key is called a lead. Separate taxonomic keys are required for each taxonomic category such as family, genus and species for identification purposes. Keys are generally analytical in nature. There are two types of keys in taxonomy. Idented key. The idented key provides a sequence of choice between two or more characteristics. By careful selection of characters at each subdivision and exact name of the organisms can be arrived at. The second one is bracketed key. The bracketed key also uses constructing characters like idented key, but in these characters are not separated by intervening subdivisions characters. Each character in this case is given a number of brackets. Flora, manuals, monographs and catalogs are some of other means of recording descriptions. They also help in correct identification. Flora contains the actual amount of habitat and distribution of plants of given area. This provide the index to the plant species found in a particular area. Manuals are useful in providing information for identification of names of species found in an area. Monographs contain information on any one taxon. Now let us summarize. The living world is rich in variety. Millions of plants and animals have been identified and described, but a large number still remains unknown. The very range of organisms in terms of size, color, habitat, psychological and morphological features make us seek the defining characteristics of living organisms. In order to facilitate the study of kinds and diversity of organisms, biologists have evolved certain rules and principles for identification, nomenclature, and classification of organisms. The branch of knowledge dealing with these aspects is referred to as taxonomy. The taxonomic studies of various species of plants and animals are useful in agriculture, forestry, industry, and in general for knowing our bioresources and diversity. The basic of taxonomy, like identification, naming, classification of organisms, are universally evolved under international codes. Based on the resemblance and distinct difference, each organism is defined and assigned a correct scientific biological name comprising two words as per the binomial system of nomenclature. An organism represent occupies its place or position in the system of classification. There are many categories, ranks, and are generally referred to as taxonomic categories of taxa. All the categories constitute a taxonomic hierarchy. Taxonomists have developed a variety of taxonomic aids to facilitate identification, naming, and classification of organisms. These studies are carried out from the actual specimens which are collected from the field and preserved as a referral in the form of herbaria, museums, and in botanical and zoological gardens. It requires special techniques for the collection and preservation of specimens in herbaria and museums. Live specimens, on the other hand, of plants and animals are found in botanical gardens or zoological parks. Taxonomists are found in botanical gardens or in zoological parks. Taxonomists also prepare and disseminated information through manuals and monographs for future taxonomic studies. Taxonomic keys are tools that help in identification based on the characteristics. Thank you. Thank you.